Let's bring in our political editor, Andrew Clennell. It's the top political story of the day when it comes out of Canberra anyway, this house purchase. So, I mean, no one's really begrudging him for buying a home. He's allowed to do that, but it's the message, it's the optics. What's the damage for him?
Yeah, we gave you today's story yesterday, as usual. So, look, I mean, it isn't great, is it?
Yeah.
It's whether he can get away with it is the way I see it, quite frankly. I'd need to see a poll before I make a judgment on it, but if they can keep the same poll numbers, I guess he's fine. If they drop a couple, it's only going to be because of this, because nothing else has happened in that 2-week kind of news poll period. And I can see it happening. I mean, I had plenty of punters saying, oh, well, fair enough, he's the Prime Minister, he's got to have a life. But you saw other people saying, well, you know, man of the people, you know, social housing story, you know, what a load of palaver. You aren't hanging around. One Labor MP used the term, after defending him for 10 minutes, judgment to me. I mean, some interesting judgment calls, right? The Voice is a judgment call. When the negative gearing story came, not hosing it immediately is a judgment call. This is a judgment call.
And yeah, it sort of goes back to not being across a brief properly as well, which goes back to the campaign and not knowing interest rates, which was huge at the time. He survived that, obviously, but...
didn't know the unemployment rate.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. One pollster says it's the Hawaii moment. Do you agree?
Wait and see a poll. I don't think it's as bad. I mean, that was a guy going on holiday while the country was burning. This is a personal decision, which when there's a housing crisis and you say you're going to fix it, looks pretty bad.
So it's all the lessons that people or politicians should perhaps learn from, you know, your John Howards, whatever, you know, keep things simple, don't go away too far, don't be making outlandish purchases, keep things boring if you like.
But Albanese had that philosophy not to go overseas after seeing Morrison's mistake. So it's not like he hasn't seen these mistakes. I think this, to be honest, has a lot to do with the decisions of the partner. And you see a real irony there because Scott Morrison blamed Jenny for going to Hawaii. Now, you know, Jodie Hayden's parents saw this property. She's from the area. It's clearly something that she is very much in favour of. And he's about to marry her. So I think, you know, he's gone, well, yeah, you know, let's be a happy couple and do it. But one of the issues with it, it looks like he's looking at his future and not the country's future.
Yeah, that's true.
And it also really means that for the entire campaign, all of us as observers will be keeping one eye to how long of this term is this guy going to be there if he gets re-elected.
That question is there.
He's only there half the time. So then the attention will focus on people like Jim Chalmers. How do you feel about taking over halfway through? There's just so many kind of what the PM would see as unintended consequences out of this. So he was insistent yesterday I'll be around for a long time, but your actions don't say that.
Let's bring Laura in now for what your thoughts on this. And I suppose that, you know, you compare this to Peter Dutton. He shared all his properties before he became opposition leader, so he'd be blunted from this kind of attack because he's obviously done well as well. But I wonder what this means for his electorate and the Prime Minister's electorate. People might be going, well, does he like it here?
Well, this is the worst kind of politics of envy, and I think you can't blame people for looking at it this way, and Labor has a big role to play in fomenting the politics of envy when it suits them. But I think what is really interesting is that most of the criticism of Anthony Albanese, anonymous left, from within his own party, they're the ones with the loudest voices today, saying it's optics, it's bad judgment, it's all this. So, again, the criticism is coming from within the left. I think a lot on the right, you know, politically they'll say, oh, this is, you know, bad judgment, blah, blah, blah. But they don't begrudge fundamentally a Prime Minister who's done well buying a house like this. The other thing to note is it's a good time to buy. Anthony Albanese is probably looking at where interest rates are going. Once they start coming down, prices go up. So, and look, Andrew's right. I think partners in politics make a lot of sacrifices. Anthony Albanese is about to get married and he wants to do something for Jodie. I mean, it's a really... But that's where our politics is at. It's been there for quite some time. You don't see this kind of thing in America. You know, you don't see the politics of envy like you do here in Australia. It's probably one of the, you know, worst elements.
That's by some might argue, though, he probably should have bought it after the election. But anyway, there you go. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Laura.